Welcome everyone, friends and furs of all species. I'm Dayzee, Hyena. We're back with another episode of Angels with Scaly Wings. Now this time, we are going to go on Remy's route. So we have done 3 of the 5 routes that I need to unlock the true ending. Now, in order to do Remy's true ending, I had to talk to Adine at least twice so we can meet Amelia. Don't know why, but we're gonna find out. I'm just saying that just to make sure all y'all who want to do this by yourself, that you'll know. All right. Duty. He told me to meet him in the lobby, but nobody's here. Maybe I should look for him. He can't be too far after all. It was a quiet and spacious building, lined with many bookcases on multiple floors. From the looks of it, it seemed to be as much of an archive as it was a library. With immaculate order permeating the chamber, it looked like the kind of place I could see myself getting lost in an afternoon or two, thumbing through all the interesting books it could offer me. I was looking around in wonder when suddenly a voice penetrated the silence. Remy! I couldn't see who the voice belonged to, but it came from the more area in the back. It was followed by footsteps that approached it. Oh, you're still here? Of course I'm still here. I have a business to attend to. Certainly, I just assumed you'd be done by now, Mira. Guess your assumption was wrong then. Be a good boy and bring me some coffee, will you? Of course, Mira. I heard more movement, though I still could not see either of the two who spoke behind the bookcases. I assumed the area was off limits to visitors like myself and decided to wait. Here you go. Now let me read in peace, you silly boy. Of course. I heard him walk towards my direction until he emerged from behind the bookcase and spotted me. Oh, Dayzee, I didn't expect to see you so soon. Better safe than sorry. And I'm glad to see you again, at any rate. Who is that back there? I guess you heard that, didn't you? That was my superior. She's the Minister of Culture and Arts, which means I'm technically in her employment, though generally speaking, I work for the Council at Large, not just her. So this is where you work, huh? Most of the time, yes. That makes you a librarian, I suppose. There's a little more to it. I'm not just in charge of the books, I'm a scholar and study them too. For example, if the council requests knowledge on certain topics like facts, statistics, or other information of interest, it's part of my job to research it and present it to them in an appropriate manner. Sounds like the kind of thing I'd like to do. I guess you came to the right place then. Anyways, was there a particular reason you wanted to meet me? I was interested in what you said the other day. You have myths about humans? Oh, right. I still have work to do, but I can share you sometime afterward. Either way, now that you're here, you can help me with something. I've got books that need to be stored over there. Alright, how do I fit them in alphabetically? Oh no, the arrangement you see in this library is based on a sophisticated system that sorts everything into a very intuitive manner based on a number of criteria: genre, author, complexity, and age. As you can probably tell, we have a lot of specimens. Putting them alphabetically, it wouldn't be far from efficient. That does sound very intuitive. It is. Basically, these 8 books you see over there were all part of a selection that was moved, so they have to be stored in a new area. The problem is their labels are so old they've started to fade away. which makes sorting them a little harder. They will get new labels soon, but until then, we'll just have to make do with what we have here. All of them are by Hazik Arquid, a writer on the subject of history, and a very prolific one, I might add. You'll find the shelf they belong to over there. Now, it is just a matter of placing them in the right order, from oldest to newest. I've written down everything still legible from the old labels here. For someone like you, putting them in order shouldn't be a problem. In any case, I'll be working on something else in the meantime, so let me know when you're done. Okay, and since I've already done this, I already have the answers, but the third war is directly after the spark, the first war is directly preceded by the inception. The invention is not the third, seventh, or last book. The second war is the fourth book. There's only one book before the first war. The Enlightenment comes at some point after the third war. The first book is the Inception. Second book is the First War. Third book is the Tribe. It is the Second War, the Invention, Spark, the Third War, and the Enlightenment. I think that's it. You're done. Let's take a look then. Seems you got it all right. Well done, Dayzee. That's hard work. It gets easier with practice. In any case, there's a box here that belongs in storage. You can put that all away. I'll finish the last bit of sorting, and then we'll be done for the day. Sure thing. Great, see you in a bit then. I lifted the box and carried it towards its shelf, but just as I was about to reach it, I tripped suddenly, sending me to the ground as the contents of the box spilled across the floor. Ow! I scrambled to gather the various items as the voice of the dragon called out to me. Is everything alright? Before I could answer, Remy came around the corner, his face bearing a look of disapproval. He stooped over and helped me pick up the spilled objects. Yeah, I'm fine. I was mainly asking about the priceless artifacts you just dropped. Oh, so sorry. It doesn't look like anything's broken. That could have ended up much worse. What is all this stuff anyway? In preparation for your arrival, I wanted to study what knowledge we had on the humans. Then what did you learn? Not much. A human creature shrouded in mystery and legend. Yet, one we apparently share some history with. Sure, dragon, tell me I'm the mythological creature. As the story goes, we dragons were once a primitive and savage civilization, living in caves and whatnot. We fought other creatures amongst each other for resources and territory. One day, however, a human arrived to perform many miracles and gave us the gift of electricity and reason. We refer to this event as our awakening. So, again, Dragon Jesus. What happened to them? And who were they anyway? They say it was a divine creature, a supernatural being that saved our species by making peace between our clans and uniting us, as our numbers were dwindling from a pointless conflict. And when the deed was done, they ascended to the heavens from where they came, or turned into a dragon and lived among us, ruling with kindness and wisdom until their eventual passing, depending on who you ask. And what do you make of this story? As unlikely as it sounds, there's evidence for sudden, unprecedented technological advancement in our timeline. We have artifacts from that time that couldn't have been built with the knowledge we had back then. I'm starting to think you already have a theory. Indeed. I take you're familiar with the way of the portals through which you travel here actually work. Actually, I am. It's simple, really. There are spontaneous wormholes that pop into existence now and then, but their highly unstable nature means that they are instantly collapsing on themselves. The machinery of the portal merely stabilizes the wormhole so that we may utilize it. We are actually all just taking advantage of a naturally occurring phenomenon. That's pretty cool. Long story short, my theory is that this legendary person stumbled upon one of these natural wormholes in the split second it existed, bringing them into our world. Being thrust into an unfamiliar world with no means to return to their own. Talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Or just the right one, if you ask me. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. What I would give to know more about them. How do you know so much about the portal anyway? We found it a while ago, so we've had time to study it. Not me personally, mind you, but I followed its development with great interest. What else have you discovered about it? Not much, I'm afraid. We didn't want to take the risk of permanent damage, so we won't do anything rash until we completely understand the technology and replicate it for ourselves. So far, the only thing that is done for us was locate your portal and connecting us to it. From the interface, it appears to have more functions, but we haven't been able to get any of them to work. We were not even sure what it was capable of when we initially turned it on. Only after some time of it being active did we actually find your portal. And only when we were able to make the connection. Making that discovery must have been exciting, especially when you made contact with us and started exchanging letters with us. You have no idea, especially when Reza arrived and he turned out to be a human of all things. Some people still worship them, you know. I would have loved it if I popped out and then somebody started worshiping me. Shit. You've mentioned that before. How does that work? Do you have some kind of organized religion based around it? Not exactly. It's more like an adoration on a personal level. I'd count myself amongst them if it wasn't for the fact I consider myself to have more reasonable approach to it than others. For example, there are those who believe there is much more to your sudden appearance than there really is. I think they expect some sort of miracle from you, similar to what was ascribed to the humans in the past. Well, I can tell you that there is nothing supernatural about me. That's what I expected. Either way, as a scholar, I'm looking forward to see everything your PDAs have to offer. I could show you sometime. I see. Well, don't worry about explaining them to me. I'm sure you have much more important things to do while you're here. It's just a question of time until one of them ends up with me anyway. Actually, the PDAs are one of the reasons I volunteered to come here. What do you mean? I know them pretty well, enough to explain how they work at least. Of course, that's far from the only reason. I just thought I'd be the kind of person who'd meet all the requirements, and turned out I was. I see, it was nice of you to volunteer when you must have known there would be considerable risk in coming here. Oh, you have no idea, Remy, the risk and shit that we've been through. You volunteered as well when you came to meet me, didn't you? I wouldn't think this kind of thing would fall under your jurisdiction regularly. That is true, but by this point, my interest in these models shouldn't surprise you. I was more surprised that I arrived under the cover of darkness to meet an ambassador, though I haven't seen much of you since. Initially, they wanted to have an official reception headed by myself, but in the end they changed their minds due to security concerns, as I told you back then. I suppose that's also why I'm being escorted by police all the time. You know, that was supposed to be my job too, until somebody from the police department objected and advocated for more security. Better safe than sorry, I suppose. Let me guess, that someone was Maverick. How'd you know that? Just a hunch. Just a hunch, my butt. At least I still got to meet you. Were you nervous when you did? Only the brave or the foolish wouldn't be. I consider myself neither. I have to admit I was too. I was speechless when I saw you, and that wasn't just a side effect of the teleportation. To be fair, I would have been as well, if we didn't already know about the humans and Reza. There was a moment of silence between us, and our eyes met briefly when suddenly a loud call echoed through the building. Remy! I better go see what that's about. maybe it would be better if you didn't stay out in the open. At the end of the hallway, you can find my office towards the right. Wait for me in there. Alright. So this is your office, Remy. I wonder if their computers are similar to ours. Let's see. At the press of a button, the screen came to life, accompanied by the whirl of the machine. After a few seconds, colorful images appeared on the screen. Have you come here to beg for mercy? No, Hyena. We have come to stop you. Your reign of terror over the land of Marmona is over. You're outnumbered. Just give up and we can end this without bloodshed. Yes, the area is teeming with my soldiers, outnumbering you 1,000 to 1. But I don't even need them. Who knows? If you survive long enough, you might just see why I'm called Elia the Ascended. Hi, you pompous asshole! Calm down, Edith. Focus. I am sorry you had to come to this, Hyena, but this ends now. Ronan, get them! And then there's Ronan the Pokemon human. Grrr! Edith will use Whirlwind. Ronan takes 326 damage. Bonar use Earthquake. Ronar takes 465 damage. Brrr! Ronan invokes Cosmic Horror. Damn. Oh shit, what was that? Bonar takes 1089 damage. Rizar takes 1205 damage. Oh! Your PC ran into a problem, needs to restart or collecting error info. Okay. What the? Hey, what are you doing? I think I broke it. Oh no, let me take a look. Why did you even touch the computer? I just wanted to see what was on it. Well, whatever you did, at least it seems to be okay. Oh no, my game! What's wrong? When you touched the computer, you saw a game running, right? Yeah, I played a little. I had it saved specifically at that moment to play it later. Now it's all gone. What do you mean it's all gone? So much preparation, so many hours spent grinding, just to get there. I can't do all of that again. You wouldn't understand. Boy, you have no idea. I actually do. You do? Yeah, we used to have similar games where I come from. RC. Well, even my office is still standing. Speaking of which, what's with the bed? It looks like you live here. When I have to work it late, it's just easier to stay here. Besides, I have the knowledge of a whole library at my fingertips and can use the resources and equipment as I please, like this computer. Don't you have one at home? No, we generally don't have this kind of technology in every household. Though it's not exactly rare either, we just use it where we need it. Back home we used to have computers everywhere. Most of us even carried one on our wrist whenever we wanted. Is that so? Oh? That means the library will be closing pretty soon. I'd like to know more about your human myths. There's a lot we could get into, but I'm afraid we won't have enough time now. Maybe another day. Anyway, thank you for your help. How about I invite you to my place for dinner sometime to repay you? Oh, that's not necessary. I enjoyed my time here. I insist. Alright then. I already have your number, and you probably have mine as well? I do. Great, call me when it's convenient for you. I will. Good night, Dayzee. Good night. I wonder whether the dragon was being nice or just didn't want me to feel indebted to me after I helped him. In any case, the time I spent in the library had been enjoyable and I was looking forward to seeing him again. Though I wondered about his insistence on inviting me to his home. Had I just been asked out by a dragon? I was going to find out soon enough. Looks like there's some messages on the answering machine. Let's see. Hello, this is Remy speaking. I'm calling in regard to the dinner we talked about. I'll have an opening soon. I was wondering if you also had the time. Let me know if you're interested. Have a good day. I guess that's my official invitation. Now the question is if I want to go or not. Thank you again for helping me the other day. Without you, it would have been trapped sorting books for a few more hours. Inviting you over for dinner is the least I can do. There's no problem, really. There's no problem, really. Besides, I'm also here to learn more about your kind. Spending some time in the library is appropriate. Well, my gratitude is yours regardless. Anyway, is there anything in particular you'd like to eat? Anything will do. I happen to have some nice steaks left. How does that sound? It might take a while, so make yourself at home. With those words, Remy walked into the partially walled-off kitchen. There was no door, so I saw him open the fridge and take out 2 steaks before he set them on the counter. Soon after, he was already preparing the various ingredients with somewhat clumsy paws. He was silent for a moment, then lifted his snout to look at me from over the partition. What is it? Oh, I was just thinking about something. I could help cook if you like. Don't worry about it. Alright. I looked around the apartment as Remy cooked and couldn't help but notice the almost mesmerizing tidiness that permeated the place. Shelves were filled with books, scrolls, magazines, and other various trinkets. Suddenly, the repetitious noise of vegetables being cut ceased as Remy returned from the adjoining room. I'll be back in just a minute. He went down the hall and vanished through the bathroom door. What should I do? Alright, this is another important thing you have to do. You have to look at all 3 of those pictures on the table. So look at the I picked up one of the framed photos to examine it more closely. It was a red dragon. I guessed it was a female of a young adult or college age, though I wasn't sure, as it was hard to tell without looking at the obvious signs. Her crimson scaled head was adorned with frills that ran down the back of her neck. She wasn't familiar to me. The second picture showed Remy in his typical attire, tie, glasses, and all. The last of the 3 pictures was another red dragon who, as far as I could tell, was a fairly young member of its species. It reminded me of a younger version of Remy, although without his typical accessories. Did he have a baby? You looked at Remy's pictures, creep. Fuck you, system! The bathroom door opened and revealed the white dragon. As he approached, I felt my stomach grumble quietly. I barely heard the muffled sound, but when I saw Remy's ears perk, I realized he had more sensitive ears than I expected. Hungry already, I take it. I suppose so. Although your stomach already answered that question for you. After entering the kitchen once more, I saw the dragon look over the kitchen partition again. His mouth opened a little as though he were going to speak, but his brow scrunched with hesitation. Before I could say anything, he shook his head and continued to cook. Soon I heard the sizzling of frying meat as the delicious smell of steak wafted into the room. Fueled by its fragrant odor, I slowly lost myself to daydreams as I closed my eyes. Is something wrong? You're salivating. It's nothing, I was just thinking about something. Well, the food is ready, enjoy. I looked down at the small plate that was already in front of me, piled with steak and vegetables Remy was already eating, so I took the knife he had provided and cut off a small corner of my steak. Then I pierced it with the fork, its 3 prongs penetrating the flesh unrelentingly. Slowly I raised it to my mouth, and my tongue glided over the bare substance briefly as it entered my lips. I took the first bite, a delicately crisp exterior with a much softer and juicy inside. It melted on my tongue like butter as the taste spread to even the remotest corner of my mouth. Man, now I'm salivating. Don't talk about steak like that, okay? I'm a Texas girl. We eat steak a lot. I love it. It was almost perfect. So, what were you thinking about? I have drool coming out of my mouth. Fuck. Huh? Remy's words snapped me back into reality. You said you were thinking about something. Nothing in particular. Anyway, how do you like the food? It's delicious. Thank you. I suppose you can learn to cook well when you live on your own for long enough. Soon both of our plates were picked clean. I guess I judged your portion correctly, unless you want some more. I'm good, thanks. It was an interesting steak. What kind of meat was that? There's an Orocha steaks. Are you familiar with that animal? I may have heard of an Atrocin before. A rather large bovine mammals characterized by their horns and body shapes. We get a wide range of products from them, from meat and milk to sub-products like butter and cheese, in addition to leather, felt, oils, and creams. We even use their horns and bones for a variety of things. That sounds similar to an animal we have back at home. Speaking of unfamiliar creatures, why don't you tell me more about your species? Are you referring to me or all of us? Our society is comprised of a number of different species, which you probably noticed by now. I guess all of you. Let's start with the basics. I'm sure you're aware, but unlike the mammalian aurochs, we are reptiles. Though this makes me wonder about you. Based on your fur, I guess you're a mammal, but you're very different from the other mammals we know. In the same vein, you don't share many characteristics with our reptiles back home. By the way, we don't have fur, but hair. And what's the difference? There is none. There actually isn't one. They share the same chemical structure, so the distinction is pretty much arbitrary. And I suppose it's just a way to distinguish the same structure in humans from that of non-human animals. So that's so interesting. I was wondering something. Are you wearing all those coverings to make up for your lack of hair? I suppose that's one reason why humans wear clothes. Another reason is if I wasn't wearing clothes, my channel would be taken down immediately and then be posted on OnlyFans, but oh well. They also provide warmth and protection and are used to differentiate one from another. Sometimes uniforms are used for identification, other times clothes are just ornamental. What a person wears can tell us something about the person itself. That sounds complicated. We also have uniforms and wear some things for ornamental reasons. There our uses aren't quite as extensive. That brings up an interesting question. Are you endo or exothermic? We produce our own body heat. That is unusual. Where I come from, all reptiles are exothermic. Unless you count birds as reptiles, I guess. But none of your reptiles are sentient, correct? Maybe it has something to do with our different brain structures. Maybe. Now that you've been in our world for a while, how do you like it here? I like the people. That's good to hear. Cultural differences can make things very difficult sometimes, even within the same species. I'm glad things are working out for you so far. I just remembered I was able to save my game after all. Your interference was only a minor setback. Thank God, glad to hear it. I was quite relieved when I found out. You know, if it hadn't worked out so well, I would have considered making you play up to that point again for me. I'd be happy to. Ain't nobody got time for that? No, I wouldn't mind playing your game sometime. Is that so? Yeah, they're fun. I'd like to see what kind of games you have here. I'll keep that in mind. Perhaps I can show you sometime. You know, I'm glad you're here. Since you arrived in our world, we haven't really had a chance to just sit down and talk. I agree. It's been a busy time for me, as you can imagine. Of course. Thanks for taking the time to pay me a visit. I always have so many things to take care of that it's hard for me to find time to do something as simple as this. At least it worked out this time. You do have a point, though. I really don't know much about you. I know where you work, but most of our conversations so far have been revolved around things other than you and me. Why don't you tell me more about yourself? I don't really like talking about myself. Why not? I guess I wouldn't know what to say. I'm not really that interesting. I have noticed the people who say that shit are usually the most interesting people you will ever meet. Anyone who's like, nah, I'm not interesting, I'm not cool. Those are usually the coolest people I've ever met. Real, okay? I don't believe you. There is also the uncertainty of not knowing how another person will react to something I say. I don't want to embarrass myself. Hey, at least you told me that. That's something. I suppose. Anyway, now that you've seen my apartment, I'm wondering what your home on the other side of the portal looks like. It's nothing special. Yours is prettier. Actually, everything here looks nice in comparison to back home. That's so. In some ways, I'm not really looking forward to returning, but it's not like I have a choice in the matter. I suppose you can always visit if you wanted to. It wouldn't be that easy, I'm afraid. There was an extensive process involved for selecting who would go through the portal, and I was only one of many applicants. I'm still surprised I ended up being chosen. At least you're here now. Indeed. So, what have you been up to since the last time I saw you? You mean since I went to the kitchen and cooked the steaks? Yep, that's what I meant. Really? No. I believed you for a moment. Guess you got me that, Dayzee. Oh, with all that talking, I totally forgot about dessert. I'm up for some dessert. And I have just the right thing for you. I'll just be a minute. He neatly stacked our dishes before he took them into one of his forepaws and went back to the kitchen using his other 3 limbs. I couldn't help but think it looked pretty awkward. When he returned balancing a plate with a rather attractive cake slice in a similar manner, I realized he would have to take multiple trips to carry everything to the table. Ask him if he needs it. Do you need help with that? Don't worry about it, I can handle it. You're my guest after all. Once he placed the first cake slice on the table, he went back to fetch the other. When he approached the table a second time, though, one of the tiny dessert forks started to slip off the plate. Remy reached with his free forepaw in an attempt to save it, but lost its balance without its support and fell over. In an instant, the plate, fork, and cake slice flew into the air. The dish silverware clattered as the pristine cake crumbled into a sad heap on the floor. I'll still eat that shit. You kidding me? I still eat that. I'm a fat ass. I don't give a shit. Your floor looks clean anyway. Why not? 3-second rule. Okay. For a few moments there was silence as Remy and I looked at the results of his blunder. I'm sorry, Dayzee. You don't need to apologize. This isn't just about you and your cake. This always happens to me, no matter how hard I try. You have proper hands, so do some of the other species. How can someone like me even be a librarian? Not a day goes by without me dropping a scroll and it unfurling across the room. But the customers don't care or pity me too much to say anything. It's a common sight for them after all. This is about a mirror, isn't it? I guess it is. I just don't see why someone like me got to be the librarian when there were other more qualified for the position, or who were at least capable of not dropping the inventory on a daily basis. She makes fun of you for it. I knew it. I mean, why else would she have me do all these tasks all the time? Sorting the books, carrying things from one place to another. I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't work somewhere where my worth is only in entertainment I provide. Why don't you look for a new job? The positions have terms similar to those ministers. If I end my employment prematurely, it wouldn't look great. How long do you have left? A while. Can't you report her? Not really. It's not like I could prove anything. Her public and her private demeanor are two very different things, and it would be my word against hers. I just wanted to have a nice evening with you, and now it ended up like this. I shouldn't have brought that up. Then let's not talk about it further. We can still share the other slice if you like. Alright. I helped him clean up, and after we were done, we shared the remaining slice of cake. It seemed unreal that someone with his personality could still eat his half with a single bite when I took much longer with my tiny fork. I would eat it all in a single bite. You're weak. This version of me, you are weak. Get to my level. By the end of dessert, he seemed a little different, though I couldn't pinpoint how. Eventually, we said our goodbyes and I left. Aww. Look how sad that looks. I don't like that. Looks like there are some messages on the answering machine. Let's see. Hello, this is Remy. I know you're very busy and probably have more important things to do, but I was wondering if you'd like to visit our Tea Park sometimes. There's something I would like to talk with you about. Please let me know if you can find the time. Have a good day. He wants to talk to me about something? I wonder what that's about. Visit with Remy. Oh, wow. Hi, Remy. Hello, Dayzee. Is there any particular reason you wanted to meet me here? I enjoy Tea Park is all. Have you been here before? Can't say I have. I see. Well, what do you think of it? It's pretty romantic. You think so? Yeah, just look at those trees. It would make a nice spot for a date, really. I agree with that. You mentioned you wanted to talk to me about something. Yes, well, about that. I just have a lot on my mind and I feel I need to tell someone. I wouldn't burden you if I had anyone else to talk to you, but the simple fact is I don't. Aw, poor Remy. Hey, you can talk to me, Remy. Thank you, I appreciate that. It's no problem. What's on your mind? I don't even know where to begin. Do you ever feel like there's an emptiness inside you, that every day is the same, joyless routine, that you wish you could escape, but you can't? Okay, yeah, you're really hitting close to home. Yes, I do. I used to. I see. Is this about Amira again? Well, it's not just about her, but working with her doesn't make things any easier. To think that just a few years ago I was the happiest I could have been, and now I have nothing but my miserable life. Whoa, man. I think we need to put him on watch. What happened? It's a long story. We have a lot of time. Okay, well. A few years ago I worked in the public sector. I mean, I still do, but my position was a different one. I didn't work under a minister back then. I was part of a committee tasked with providing independent and faculty-backed opinions on community topics. It was supposed to help not only politicians, but the general populace. Free from outside interference, we did our own fact-checking based on research and publicly reported our finding. Our individual members didn't always agree, but we made sure the end results were based on verifiable facts. In this way, we ordered a variety of comprehensive opinions on difficult topics. We found the truth and allowed people and politicians to make up their minds from there. Our work was a key influence in the community, and because the conclusions of each individual member were often very different, it could never be said that we were biased. It was during one such assignment that I met a certain person named Amelia. My task was to determine the viability of several projects, each competing for a research grant for our council. Amelia was a member of one scientific team vying for a grant. She was an inventor, and her group was looking for ways to streamline hospital processes and tests by utilizing new technology. The first time I saw her was when our community watched her group's pitch. I almost said bitch. One of the things we had to do was determine whether their claims and goals were realistic. In her case, they were. Ultimately, they didn't get the grant, but she recognized me in the restaurant. Well, later, we started talking. She was very smart and I admire her spirit. She just wanted to help people with her talents, and in this way, she reminded me a lot of myself. We kept seeing one another and grew close, but before long we were dating. It felt so right. I thought our relationship was about to become serious, but then she informed me that her research group had applied for another grant. Of course, that complicated things. My committee was once again tasked with judging the viability of different projects, and while I intended to stay impartial in the matter, she would probably see it as an influence due to our relationship. With these concerns, we decided not to meet again until the grant winner was determined. We hadn't expected her group to get it, but in the end they did. We didn't want to end our relationship over something like that, but if word got out that we were together during the decision-making process, it would have put both of our jobs in jeopardy. In the end, we decided to wait and made a commitment. 6 months later, the grant was given to her team. We would return to one another and make our relationship public. That much time would have ensured that it wouldn't be an issue. We even made plans to move in together when that time came. Aww! But we never got that far. I only know the rest of what happened from various reports, but apparently Amelia got sick. Nothing serious, mind you. She continued her work from home as best as she could. The project was already behind schedule and she didn't want to endanger it. People were critical and very curious about what the project would amount to, and she didn't want to be responsible for its failure if she took some days off to recuperate. So every day she continued working on the project until the dead of night. One evening she went out to pick up her medication in addition to something to help her stay awake, but she was sick and overworked. The combination of the prescription side effect and the supplements caused her to collapse. No one was around to see her fall. No! When she was found the next day, she was covered by a blanket of fresh snow. It was too late. She froze to death during the cold winter night. Oh, if someone was with her, this would not have happened. But she died out there, all alone. All because we kept our relationship a secret. They had plans to move in together. We even talked about having our own small family. Some things are just not meant to be, it seems. If I hadn't identified the moment my life started going downhill, losing Amelia would be it. My heart was ripped out in that moment. Now only emptiness remains, and it's like a wound that never closes. Maybe you saw those pictures in my apartment. Even my home is a reminder of her. We were going to move into that apartment together. And this tie I'm wearing, I got it from her as well. My heart! When she gave it to me, she said it was like her red scales. As long as I wore it, she'd be with me in a way. I'm gonna cry! For so long, I've been holding on to her with all my might. I wish I could stop because I know it's killing me. But I've been doing it for so long, I don't think I can. That in some way, holding on to Amelia's helped me. When I look back on all the happy memories we made, Amelia's bullying hurts a little less. If only because those memories hurt so much more. Damn. I would love my job if it wasn't for Amelia. It's a constant struggle, a battle I have to fight every day. Each of her words slices through me, creating new wounds on top of the others that never close. Some days I just don't want to do it anymore. I don't know how much longer I can. I refuse that. Nope, bro, you gotta stop. No, hold on. This ain't right, man. You can't do this to yourself. me. I'm not sure if there's anything that can fill that void. Have you ever I remember you said you always wanted children. Yes. It's not exactly the same thing, but I heard that the orphanage is always looking for more volunteers. You could help take care of those children. So that's so. Yeah, the orphanage is notoriously understaffed. The children don't really have anyone else, so each volunteer is a godsend. Losing both parents at such a young age must be horrible. I can't even imagine what that must be like. You should talk to a dean about volunteering. She knows a lot more about it than I do. A dean? I don't want to talk to her. Why not? She used to be my friend, well, she's more Amelia's friend than mine. Why can't you talk to her? I don't know. I don't want to face her. Whenever I see her, it's another reminder of what I lost. Besides, I don't think she wants to talk to me either. I think if you wanted to volunteer, she would gladly accept the help. Besides, I saw she tried to talk to you the other day. You saw that? I guess she did try to talk to me, but it was only because she wanted something. I don't think that was the only reason. Maybe she wanted to reconnect with you. If she wanted to avoid you, she could have asked someone else at the library for help, but she chose you. I'm not sure about that. Maybe she actually feels the same way you do, and the map helped her muster up the courage to face you again. If you want to change something, Remy, you have to take action. What's the worst that can happen if you talk to her? I suppose you have a point. I'll think about it. Thank you, Dayzee. Getting all that off my chest helped me a lot. No problem, Remy. Anything else on your mind? Yeah, there's the whole thing about Anna. Yeah, you mentioned that last time. You still worried about her? I am. Who knows what horrible things she's working on in her lab. There's nothing I can do to stop her. You did what you could. The rest is up to the authorities now. I guess so. I can't help but feel a little pity for her, too. With her condition, I imagine that the ministry's disapproval must have been a tough pill to swallow. What are you talking about? She has cancer. I see. Who knows how much longer she has? Knowing that, every day must be difficult for her. Remy paused and gave me an embarrassed smile. Quite a bit of time has passed since you arrived. You've barely been able to speak. I've been talking a lot. I don't mind. There must be a lot on your mind, too. There is. Since I've worked with Mira, I know all the details surrounding you and Riza. Not many do. Many rumors going around town. All this time you've been working with our police. Yeah. And now you're hunting the person who's supposed to be your partner. It must be really hard for you. I came here because I wanted to do the right thing. Nothing about that has changed. What kind of person is Riza anyway? The kind that stops at nothing to achieve what he believes in. I can see that. I've already witnessed just how far he would go. What do you think about him? Honestly, I'm not sure. Back home, this relentless quality of his was admired. But I certainly don't condone his actions. Given what I know about him, I think he must have a reason, as weird and twisted as it may be. And what about you? I have my own principles. I see. How's your hunt for Riza going anyway? Not too great. We don't have any strong leads or any idea of his whereabouts in the end. We're just following his trail of murders and destruction. People are getting afraid. The rumors are starting to take effect. I thought Amira was going to give a press conference to warn the public. That didn't happen. She feared the political backlash if people knew about Riza while you're still here. So, for the time being, he has been declared as a missing person. The public has been informed that if someone sees him, they are to call the police immediately. They were told he may be suffering from an affliction that makes him behave erratically. But some people are putting two and two together. Knowing I've seen Reza for a while, even before he was officially declared missing. But it's easy to line up the timelines and see that the murder started happening shortly after he vanished. What we know about the break-ins and the thefts are also damaging. The objects stolen all point towards Reza. I'm not sure how much longer they can keep this a secret. How do you think the public will react, considering I'm still staying here? I don't know. We can't really predict the public opinion, but you can bet there will be critical voices. I'm not sure how I could convince everyone that I'm not involved with Reza's plans. Well, you do have the council's support. If Amira voiced that you were on our side, it wouldn't be so bad if the public found out. Yeah, but she also made it clear that she believes most people won't have the same opinion. She won't support me publicly if their vote is against me. That is true. America plays the political game a lot. She aligns with popular opinion so people will like her. That's very dishonest. It is, but that's who she is. Does the public know about the portal's current state? No, if it can't be fixed, it wouldn't be worth mentioning, and if it can't be fixed, they aren't going to announce it before they know how to deal with the current situation. Compared to Reza, it's not really a problem. It might become one pretty soon. If word gets out and I'm suddenly his accomplice, what would happen to me? How would you even deal with Reza if you caught him? I'm not sure. I suppose we have to work something out between our legal system and whatever humanity has to say on the matter. And if the portal is done for, what then? And humanity would be out of the picture for any legal proceedings. Reza would likely be held until contact has been re-established, or just serve his sentence here. I see. How do your jails work, anyway? Well, if a crime has been committed and proven without a doubt, the jail sentence can be the consequence. Our delinquents live in the area separate from the rest of society, monitored at all hours of the day. They receive the help they need, and efforts are taken to make them realize the wrongdoings and integrate them back into our community. Life isn't that much different there than it is here. The spaces are more cramped for sure, but mostly it's just a very controlled environment. That's not much of a punishment. It is a consequence, not necessarily a punishment. Our society at large benefits more from people who have been rehabilitated, and if mental issues are the cause, those can at least be found and addressed. See, that's a lot better than what we have. That sounds like how it used to be at home. These days in our cities you get 3 strikes. What does that mean? 3 infractions on our rules will get you thrown out of the city. If someone is a drain on our limited resources, we will not support them. While I can understand why you needed to incorporate such a policy, the finality of it makes me a bit uneasy. It has worked so far, and it's not as if the outside is completely unkind. Someone expelled from the city might find a different community or join one of the mobile groups. The situation inside our city is still much better than the outside, though. They're very strict with those allowed to live there. It is a privilege. Anyone or anything that threatens the inside society or the lives of its people is removed very quickly. How would a murderer like Reza be dealt with, eye for an eye? No, we don't do that. But murder is a crime so heinous, immediate expiation is the consequence, regardless of prior infractions. I see. What do the citizens think about this system? Some agree with its methods, some don't, but as long as it works, people won't complain. Weeding out undesirable elements is what keeps their standard of living intact. I guess that means politics don't play a big role where you come from. No, they won't change the working system. I wish! It varies here, but I'm so tired of Mira and her games. As I work with her, I can see exactly how she plays the public. I know every council member has their own approach, but for everything she does is so tailored towards the public's expectation. For her, it's just a popularity contest. You know what? That gives me an idea. Really? What is it? The human visit and all the associated consequences are her responsibility, right? Yes. For her, this situation with Riza must be utterly horrifying. She keeps talking about preventing public backlash, but she's really just trying to protect herself. That sounds accurate. Maybe we can use that to our advantage. How? She can't send me back to my world right now. That makes me the only one here with knowledge of Riza and humans in general. That's true. If I speak from this point of authority, we should have a much easier time convincing her of anything we want. You couldn't convince her to let you stay in our world, though. Yes, but I was trying to use reason and plead with her. I didn't take into account her fear of public backlash. I think we can manipulate this fear of hers and use it to our advantage. If there were consequences to fear from Riza, me, or the rest of humanity, and those consequences would make her look bad to the public, what would be a reason for her to reconsider any actions, right? I suppose so, but what situation could this apply to? She nearly sent me back through the portal. If she tries anything again, at least we have something we can use against her. I think I see where you're coming from. Riza's still a mystery to me, though. All things considered, it wouldn't be beneficial for him to stay here. No offense, but even our prisons can offer a better standard than living in your city. As such, couldn't that be a reason for him to have vandalized the portal? I don't think so. You're right, your world is much better shaped than ours, but even if Riza could stay here, he wouldn't. He came here for the same reason I did, to help our people. He has a very pronounced sense of duty to humanity, and I believe in him when he stepped through the portal. He proclaimed that he would do everything he could. When I met him again in this world, I had the impression that he wanted to get our mission over with as soon as possible, so he can return to our world with aid. That's going to be difficult with the portal out of order. The person who did it probably didn't realize this wasn't a very good idea. This might make Riza even more desperate. Who knows what he will do next? And if anything happens, I can't leave either. If the portal is gone for good, I suppose you'll have to stay here. What do you think about that? I'd love living here. I'd love living here. Everything I've heard about this place is so wonderful compared to back home. That's good to hear. I certainly wouldn't mind if you stuck around. Only now do I realize everything I told you earlier must seem so petty compared to the struggles you face. Bro, don't even worry about that shit. It doesn't matter what your struggles are. It still affects you, man. It doesn't matter my struggles versus your struggles. Yours are still valid. And you're still a good person, even if you express concern or you just don't like where you are at. It doesn't matter. You have the right to be sad. Don't let anybody let you feel bad for feeling bad. Alright? Do what you gotta do to take care of yourself. That's a Dayzee approved message. We all have our own struggles. I suppose that's true. I can't even imagine what life must be like where you're from. Back home I was just trying to survive and help others do the same. That hasn't changed. I'm almost afraid of going back to my city though. Times are so rough. Yet, even if I didn't have to go back, I would. I can't just let them down like that, you know? I have to try to do what I can. That's why I came here. I wish I could be that strong. Who says you can't? I don't know, You told me about your old job. Yeah, I miss those days. What about it? It's not exactly the same as saving the city, but you were helping people, right? That's true. Maybe once your term with the mirror is over, you can do something like that again. I really wish I could. Can I ask you a question? Of course. Do you even like me? There must be a reason why you've put up with me for this long. What are you talking about? Do you consider me our friend, or maybe more? He is so sweet. I like you more than just a friend. Is that so? In that case, well, the summer festival is coming soon, and it's an event we hold in town every year. We've got fireworks and all kinds of shows. It might be fun for you to experience a different part of our culture. What do you say? Would you like to accompany me? I'd love to, but I can't promise I won't have other obligations at the time. I see. Well, I'll call you, and we'll see if we can work it around our schedules. Sure thing. Then it's settled. I probably should get going now, though. Thank you. Thanks for hearing me out, Dayzee. Likewise. Aww, I love Remy. Looks like I have some free time today. Alright, we're gonna start right there. On a serious note, if y'all got issues in your life, you got shit that's weighing you down, make sure you find a close friend that you're good with and tell them that shit, man. Even if you're just going onto one of those, like, blogs or something, make an anonymous account and just vent, do what you gotta do, okay? But if you do the anonymous thing, make sure you turn off the comments because people can be assholes. Just because. But yeah, your struggles are not invalid just because someone else is struggling more than you, alright? We all have our limits. We all have the max of what we can do. Don't let that shit hold you back, man. You're capable of great things. You just gotta keep moving forward. Man, I almost took myself out the game quite a while back. Several times. So, just stick around. You could have your own channel. Huh? You could be a furry on the internet. Hell, if you're watching this, you're probably already a furry. Sorry. Anyway, now back to this. We had a good time with Remy. I'm glad, you know, we got to speak with him. We're going on a date with him in the next one. Hey! So, if you like what you see, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can see my content in the future. Also, while you're here, if you have any game suggestions or you just want to say hi, leave it down in the comment section below. I'm Dayzee Hyena. Catch y'all in the next vid.